Sunday Breakfast with Gavin Ashenden on BBC Southern Counties Radio.
We're welcoming Parvaneh Farid. Parvaneh, have I pronounced it properly?
Of course.
No, there's a better way of doing it, isn't there? How would you do it?
Just as you said, Parvaneh.
Parvaneh, fine. Now, Parvaneh, you're a singer. In fact, if people were to look you up, they can see you singing Gilbert and Sullivan on YouTube, can't they?
Especially Ruth.
Especially Ruth from Pirates of Penzance.
Yes.
Did you sing much Gilbert and Sullivan?
Well, with my type of accent, it may be surprising that I take part in such a very English production at all. But there are some characters in Gilbert and Sullivan that lend themselves nicely to some form of accent.
And there's a kind of cross between the Cornish accent and the Iranian. Is it Iranian?
Persian, Iranian, yes, both are fine.
I was brought up with Persia, so I had to learn.
Well, that is the Persian language. There isn't such a thing as an Iranian language.
Absolutely. When did Persia become Iran?
It never became Iran.
Right.
It always has been. In fact, the name Iran is as old as Persia, if not older.
Okay.
It is somehow like the use of the term England and Britain.
Fine.
In different contexts, we would use one term or the other.
Right.
Though after the Islamic Revolution, a political internal and external tendency developed to overlook the identity of Persian culture of Iran. As a result, some assume that the name was changed.
And the name Persia still resonates for you?
As I mentioned, it depends on the context of the conversation. Sometimes we say Iran, another time Persia or Persian.
Aye.
And the term Persian refers more to the culture and to the language, whereas Iran is the name of the land.
And the Baha'i faith, was it born in Iran?
Yes, Iran is the cradle of the Baha'i faith.
How did it, it's in the 1800s?
Yes, in the mid-19th century, the Baha'i faith was founded in Iran by a man called Mirza Hossein Ali, who later chose the name Baha'u'llah, meaning the glory of God. Baha'u'llah was born in 1817 in Tehran in a very affluent family. His father was in fact a government minister.
What would you say the great gift of the Baha'i faith is to for people who are in pursuit of God? And each of the major faiths, the Buddhists have non-violence and allowing things to happen. The Muslims have the sense of giving in to the authority of God. Christians would say they might have compassion, vulnerable love.
Yes.
What does Baha'i bring to?
Baha'u'llah proclaimed that the tabernacle of unity has been raised. Regard ye not one another as strangers. Ye are the fruits of one tree, and the leaves of one branch. Hence, to answer your question, I could say unity in diversity and proceeding towards global peace.
We could do with a bit of that.
Exactly. This is the very requirement of our time. One of the principles of the Baha'i faith is the progressive revelation of God, meaning that God from time to time reveals teaching and guidance to mankind in accordance with our needs and the level of our understanding. Hence the emphasis on unity and peace at this time.
Were you born a Baha'i or did you choose it?
I was born in a Baha'i family, but you are not born a Baha'i. According to the Baha'i teaching, one has to choose his or her religion after the age of consent or maturity. And that would be after pursuing a personal and independent course of investigation of the truth. So at any time of your 16th birthday, you choose your religion, or even if you decide not to affiliate to religion, there would be no pressure on you either.
Did you find there were other competitors for you when you chose the Baha'i faith at age 16? Were there other things you were choosing between, or did it seem natural to you to simply adopt the faith of your parents?
Well, the thing is, I'm not sure that competition could play any role in that.
Right.
One of the Baha'i principles is the unity of religion, meaning that there is only one religion of God.
Right.
And all these different names and different traditions that exist around the world are just different practices and different understandings of the same spiritual truth, which comes from the same source. As a Baha'i child, you are educated accordingly to understand the source and the essence of all religious traditions. You systematically learn about the history and teachings of other religious traditions, as well as those of the Baha'i faith, of course. And there are some shared values that do not change between religious traditions.
Sure.
Hence, when you are ready for your personal investigation and choosing a religious tradition as your point of reference and practice, you have already been provided with a foundation to build upon.
What's the thing about being a Baha'i that most inspires you?
Baha'u'llah proclaimed that the earth is but one country, and mankind its citizens.
Right.
However, what inspires me about his proclamation is the revelation of a set of practical steps in achieving the goals that God has set for humanity.
Now, some people would say that sort of, if you want unity out there, you've got to start with unity in yourself.
Of course.
Tell us a bit about the Baha'i journey for inner unity in the person.
The Baha'i faith, like all other religious traditions, is largely based on two different aspects, spiritual and practical. Mm-hmm. On the spiritual aspects of our development, as you rightly emphasized, a personal journey is required to reach a level of inner peace in tune with the essence of unity, which forms the foundation of the creation. And this personal development, however, is not achieved at the expense of a practical plan for building a community based on a sound structure. The Baha'i faith has a holistic approach to the development of humanity, hence the necessity for having a collective set of practical steps towards universal peace and unity beside a personal development. An example for these practical steps could be the principle of the adoption or creation of a universal language beside our mother tongues.
Are there many Baha'is in the southern counties?
I think there are about 70 Baha'is and a Baha'i center in Brighton.
Right.
And they have an open house every Sunday evening at 5:30. The contact number is 01273 585 895. You may also seek information about the Baha'i faith by visiting www.baha'i.org.
Are they going to give you breakfast after this?
And they gave me breakfast this morning before I come here. And they offered me hospitality last night.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Good. I'm pleased to hear that.
I'd like to thank Dr. Farhuman's family for the hospitality that they kindly offered me.
She's looking very well on your breakfast, so thank you very much. The festival that's coming up, what is it? The Baha'i festival?
This coming Baha'i festival is called Redvan, which is the most important festival in the Baha'i calendar. Mm-hmm. Redvan is the celebration of the historical events of the declaration of Baha'u'llah to his followers as the promised one of all religious traditions before him. Mm-hmm. And of course, as the manifestation of God on earth at this time. In other words, Redvan is the annual commemoration of the time that the Baha'i faith officially began.
On a fixed date?
Yes, on a fixed date, which is the 21st of April.
Right, excellent, good.
Yeah.
And now you sing about your faith. We're going to hear some of your music.
Right.
Is that right? Tell us about the music before we listen to it.
Well, the music that I have brought today is from one of my albums, The Hidden Words. Mm-hmm. The Hidden Words are a collection of mystical verses by Baha'u'llah, which are revealed to enhance and promote our spiritual development. Raymond Worley has kindly set a selection of these verses to music, and I recorded them a few years ago.
Raymond, thank you. We're going to listen to Parvaneh singing about her faith.
Thank you, Gavin, very much for inviting me to your program and providing me with the opportunity to speak to your listeners.